Okay, so welcome to the the third project for Access 2019. First thing we're going to do is save it. So we're going to go File, Save As, and we need to change that _2 to 1 to a 2. You'll see that I have bracket 2 there because I've opened this one a couple of times. So you just pick your file destination and save. Alright, so I did not print the instructions for this one. I have it here, so I'm going to toggle back and forth, and maybe I'll split the screen a little later. So for the first step, Personal Insurance, Inc. is a national company that insures homeowners and renters. It also offers umbrella policies that provide additional coverage. As a regional manager, you need to be able to query the database to help make decisions and to answer questions from other employees. Create a query based on the customers table in the query design view with the following options. I'm going to split the screen so I can get all that straight. We are going to base it off the customers, so we're going to create, and we're going to go to query design, and I'm going to double click on the customers because that's what it says it wants to be based off of, and it says add the customer ID, so I'm going to go double click and it goes down here where it needs to be. I'm adding it to my query. Double click on first name, comes down. Double click on last name, it brings it down, and double click on date of birth. And I think that's all. Yes. Okay, B, sort the records in ascending order by last name. So here's last name, and the sort is right here. So we're going to click and choose ascending. C, save the query using customer last name sorted as the name. Open the query in datasheet view, then close it, saving if necessary. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click, save, and because you haven't already given it a name, it will ask you for the name here. So customer last name, oops, sorted. Make sure you keep all your capital letters and no spaces where they're needed and where they're not needed. Alright, so now I'm going to close that down. Here it is. So when I double click, it just opens straight up in datasheet view. Looks good. I'll close it down. Step 2, open the homeowner's premium query in design view. So the homeowner's premium query. If I just double click like I did with the last one, it'll open up in datasheet view. But I'm going to right click and choose design view. Make the following changes to the query. A, delete the customer ID column from the design grid. So here's customer ID. If you notice, I had a black arrow that pointed down like that, so I clicked it. And I'm going to go into query, home, and here's delete. You can delete it this way or you can right click on it. I'm going to go delete this way. And we'll go back here. Add criteria to select only those records where the premium field is greater than 2,000. So criteria to select only records where the premium field value is greater than 2,000. So here's your criteria in the premium field. Use your greater than symbol and 2,000. Save the changes. Open in datasheet view, close and save if necessary. So we're going to right click, save. You want to open in datasheet view, here are your views over here. There we go. So we've got our column deleted, and it's only showing premiums above 2,000. Perfect. Step 3, open the liability or property query in design view. Liability or property. Add criteria to select only those records where the liability field value equals 75,000 or the personal property field value equals 75,000. So that's the liability and the personal property. So the liability is equals 75,000, and the personal property, it says or, so here's our or. Okay, I think that's it for that one. Confirm that 3 records appear, so we will save and we will run it to see only 3 records. Perfect. So 75,000 came up in liability and 275s here in personal property. So that's the only 3 records that you got back. Okay. Step 4, open the comparison birth query in design view. Comparison birth. Make the following changes to the query. A, add the first name field to the query design grid. The first name field should immediately follow the customer ID. Okay, so we're going to double click on first name. It doesn't immediately follow customer ID, so we're going to click with that black arrow pointing down and then click and hold again and drag it. And you'll see that thick black line showed up where it was going to fall. B, add criteria to select only those records where the date of birth field value is less than 1/1/1950. So date of birth, less than. So here's our criteria, less than 1/1/1950. C, set the format to medium date for the date of birth field. Okay, so you're going to click on date of birth here, and then you're going to go to property sheet, and the format is medium date, and D says set the caption to birth date for the date of birth field. Here's your caption. Alright, so we can close that down. E, save the changes to comparison birth query, open in data sheet view, and confirm the results match this figure. So we go, you can also click save up here if you'd like, and view in data sheet view, make sure they match. Good stuff. So now we close it down. Step 5, open the state city sort query in design view and make the following changes. State city sort. Move the state field to the beginning of the design grid so that the order of the fields in the grid is state, city, first name, and last name. B, sort the records in descending order by the state field and in ascending order by city. Descending by state, ascending by city. So we do this, click, drag it over, descending, and ascending. Double check, make sure, yep, save the changes, view in data sheet, close if necessary. So we save and run it. And you can choose run or choose data sheet view. Both will give you the right answer. Oopsies. Okay. Step 6, open the liability and property query in design view. Liability and property. Add criteria to select only those records where the liability field equals 100,000 and the personal property field equals 100,000. So liability and personal property and liability equals 100,000 and personal property. So I don't go down to the or just beneath. I stay right here next to it. 1, 2, 3. 100,000. I think that's it for that one, isn't it? Save the changes, confirm that 2 records appear. So, save and run, and 2 records. Perfect. Step 7, open the Michigan Customers Query in Design View. Michigan Customers. And add criteria to select only those records where the state field value is MI, Michigan. So the state, MI. Save the changes, open, and confirm that 7 records appear. Okay, so save and run, 7 records. Step 8, because customers of personal insurance reside in many different cities, it is often difficult to know the exact spelling of a city. Open the customer city query in design view. And add criteria to select only those records where the city field value begins with letters AL. Begins with the letters AL. Okay, so this is a wild card. Customer city, no, city field, AL. So they want to know what cities start with AL. So I'm going to put AL and put an asterisk in, and that asterisk stands in place for any other characters that could be there. So like Alicant or Eloise or any other number of characters it could be. And say they said, I don't know the beginning of the word, but I know the end of the word is town. So you would put the asterisk at the beginning of town. So you'd go asterisk town. Or say you were trying to find a field in the city, or you're trying to find a record in the city field that had the word street in it. Just a standalone word called street. But you didn't know what else was in that field. You would put the asterisk in front and behind street. So asterisk, street, asterisk, and it would find the field that had that word alone in it, and along with other words as well. The asterisk just stands in place of other characters in the field that you don't know. Okay, save, and 2 records. So we go save and run, 2 records. Step 9, many queries require data from more than one table. For example, you may want a query to display the customer's last name rather than customer ID for a renter's policy. Create a query in design view based on the customers and renters tables with the following options. So we are going to create a query. And we are going to add, what are we adding? Customers and renters table. So I'm going to double click to add the customers, double click to add the renters, and then I'm going to close down my add tables. The add tables is up here if you accidentally close it too early. Okay, so this little line right here means that there's a relationship between this customer ID and this customer ID, meaning it's the same ID, it's the same field. What you would open up the customers table and see in customer ID here is the same that you would open up the renters table and see here. Okay. Add the customers table and the renters table to the design window, which we've done. B, add the last name from customers. So last name from customers. Add the policy number and premium. So policy number and premium. D, join the customers table and renters table by drawing a line from the customer ID field in the customers table to the customer ID field in the renters table. Hint, because the field names are identical in both tables, the line may already be there. Do not attempt to recreate the line if this is already present. Okay, so yes, we don't need to do that one, and I don't think that you will have to either. But if you did, all you do to create that is just click and hold, drag it, and drop it on the customer ID here, and it would create a relationship. That's what that line means. It's a relationship. E, save the query using customer-renter. Customer renter. Okay, last name, policy number, premium. Step 10, because customers live in different states, it is often advantageous to create a query where you can change one criteria using a parameter query. Open the states parameter query in design view. States parameter query. A, add parameter criteria to the state field to replace the current FL. The new parameter criteria should prompt the user with enter desired state as the text. Okay, so to enter a parameter query, we're going to backspace Florida, and we're going to go square bracket, enter desired state, and close the square bracket, and then save and run, and it's going to ask, I think it's one PA. There you go, state PA. All right, step 11, open the top values property query. Top values property. Modify the query to sort the property damage amounts in descending order. Change the return value to display only the top 5 records. Okay, so property damage is descending. Oops, descending. And we are going to return top 5. Save and run top 5, so the highest 5 in property damage here. There you go, 5 records. All right, so step 12, open the total coverage query in design view. Modify the query by creating a calculated field. Enter total coverage as the alias, liability plus property damage in the zoom dialog box of the first empty column in the design grid. Save the query and open in datasheet view. Okay, so total coverage is your alias, liability plus property damage. So we right click, get your zoom, and we go total coverage and square bracket, liability, close square bracket, plus property damage, close square bracket, and that's your calculated field. We're going to save it and run it, and you get total coverage is your liability plus your property damage. Step 13. Open the average premium query in design view. Perform the following tasks. A, add a totals row to the design grid. B, select average as the calculation in the total row and set the caption to average premium for the premium field. Okay, so we're going to add a totals row. So now we get a totals right here. And I'm going to choose average, and I'm going to go for the caption to be, I think it's average premium, ABG premium, yeah. ABG space preem. Okay, save it and run it. Average preem. Okay. Step 14, open the customers without homes query in design view. Customers without homes. A, change the join property for the relationship between the customers and homeowners table to select all records from the customers table and only those records from the homeowners table where the joined fields are equal. So, change the join property. There, got it. Double click on that line. It's so thin that it's sometimes hard and you gotta hover around a little bit to get the double click going. So I'll move this over here so I get it right. All records from the customers table and only those records from the homeowners table where the joined fields are equal. So it's the third option here. Okay. B, add the is null criteria for the policy number and add an ascending sort order on the last name field. So last name, ascending, policy is null. Save the changes, confirm there are 21 records. So save and run, and quick check, 21 right here. Close it down. Step 15, open the unique states query in design view. Modify the query to list all states only once. Save the changes to the query. Open the query in datasheet view and confirm there are 15 records. Alrighty. So I'll click it here in the gray, click on the property sheet, and my unique values need to be changed to yes. Okay. Save and run, and I've got 15. Step 16, create a crosstab query based on the Mid-Atlantic table with the following options. Crosstab query, Mid-Atlantic table. So I'm going to click on Mid-Atlantic, I'm going to go create query wizard and crosstab. Alright, move this over here and see what we got. Use only data from the Mid-Atlantic table in the crosstab. Okay, so I'm going to have to choose Mid-Atlantic. Use the state field for the row heading and city for column. So state for row, city for column. State for row, city for column. Use a count of the customer ID field as the calculated value, which is already there, count and customer ID. And include row sums in the crosstab query that's down there. Save the query using state-city-crosstab. Okay. Next. So state-city-crosstab. I'm just going to be overly cautious and hit the save button. Okay, step 17, export the renters table as an Excel file with the name renters to the same folder as the one that stores your data. So we're going to go external data, we're going to make sure we're clicked on renters, we're going to go Excel file, and we're going to export the data. Okay. Yes, I've already done this, so I'm just going to replace that file. And it says to save the export steps, and I need to save it as, I think that's the right name, export renters. Yep, that's the right one. So I'll save the export. Alrighty. Step 18, use the import spreadsheet wizard to import the data from the support file that you downloaded off SAM and append it to the umbrella table. So you're adding it to the umbrella table. So we're going to choose a new data source from File, Excel, because it's a .xlsx file. You're going to append it to a umbrella table, and now I get to go look for it. Okay, make sure that's all right. Append it to the umbrella. Do not save the import steps. Okay. Next. Finish. Not saving. And we have to open up umbrella just to see we've got 14 records, which we do. So it was a successful import. So import means we took information from an Excel spreadsheet and added it to an umbrella table here. That's really useful if you didn't realize that you needed to use the tools in Access, but you had already started your inputting of information in Excel. So it's a really valuable tool for that reason. Step 19, rename the Pennsylvania owner's query as Pennsylvania customers in the navigation pane. So Pennsylvania customers instead of owners. Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. Right click. rename. Enter. Woo, I hit enter twice. That's why that happened. Step 20, group the objects in the navigation pane by tables and related views. Tables and related views. There we go. So now it's all switched up. Okay, so as I said before, you don't need to save anything if you don't have anything open. If you do have things left open, just right-click, save them, and close them all. When everything is closed, you can just make sure that you have it saved as _2. If you haven't, go to your file, save as, and then you can submit to Sam for grading. Awesome job, and we'll see you on the 4th one.